Okay, guys, I'm back with my dear friend Pete Adams. And I guess just my brother's transition, I might be a little serious. I just understand the power of relationships. But I called Pete and I said, Pete, I don't know if I'm up to doing a show by myself. Just the emotional and psychological draining. He said, Constance, I got you. So really, he helped put the show together today mostly. And hey, I'm just following him today a little bit. And that's what you need friends for. You need people in your life. Big companies understand that. They understand the power of merger. And Pete and Robin Adams are true friends. I mean, he don't ever have to work a day in his life. All he got to do is ski and whatever else they do, snow skiing or whatever, snow skiing, whatever that is, that they do, and just relax and chill. But they're all about giving back. And so today we're going to be talking about how the power of reading to bring you success and wealth. So, Pete Adams, welcome back to the Law of Attraction Radio Network.
Well, thanks for having me back on, Constance. It's always a great thrill for me, and it's always a lot of fun because I know that so many of your listeners get a massive benefit from your show, and I'm just blessed to be fortunate enough to be on your show again. So, looking forward to it. Let's have a great show.
Well, thank you for how you've been there for me.
Oh, you're welcome, Constance.
I appreciate. I mean, you're a real macho man. You're an alpha male. But I appreciate that.
Okay, I hope it's not a bad thing.
Okay. And so Pete, we're going to be talking about the power of reading, or how being a lifelong learner equals success and wealth. And so tell our audience what we're going to be doing and what our gift is going to be.
Okay, super, Constance. Love to. The actually, what I did was Constance and I came up with 10 law of attraction classics, and one of the things that you'll notice from anyone who's achieved lifelong success is they are big time readers all the time. It's just one of the things you need to do is you need to stay focused on what you're doing as far as working with the law of attraction. So one of the ways I stay motivated, I know Constance does as well, is we constantly read classic law of attraction spiritual books. And it's funny, when I was putting the list together, Constance, I was going back and I remember the very first book that I read. It was called The Magic of Believing by Claude Bristol. And for the folks who have already read my book, Visual Festation, and if you haven't, if you want to read it or you want to listen to it online, please just visit my YouTube channel where all three of my books are there for free as audiobooks. So I invite you to come on board. So to talk about the magic of believing real quick.
Okay,
Oh, go
so
ahead.
before we get to that, Pete, what are we going to give people?
Oh, I thought we were going to wait till the end. All right.
Oh, okay.
All
Are
right.
we
Okay.
gonna wait till then? Okay.
No, the cat's out of the bag now. We
Oh,
got
I'm
to do it
sorry.
because
Okay.
they'll be going crazy.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Me and
Okay.
my big mouth. I can't
Okay.
hear
Well,
you.
yeah, I thought we'd do it at the end, but anyways, sorry, Miss Constance. Okay, guys, this is what Constance and I are going to give for you as a special gift. If you will go and subscribe to Constance's YouTube channel and also subscribe to mine, and if you guys are already subscribers, just drop me an email at visualfestation@gmail.com. And what Constance and I are going to give you as a gift are actually 27
Wow.
free law of attraction ebooks. And these are
Wow.
some of the ones we're going to talk about today. I mean, some
Wow.
of the big ones, the Master Key System by Charles Hano, Creative Mind and Success by Ernest Holmes, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That's just three of the 27. So just this free gift package of ebooks is enough to get you going and keep you busy for the pretty much the rest of your lifetime. So we're pretty happy to be able to do this for all of the listeners that support Constance's show. And and if you want to get these great free books, just like I said, subscribe to Constance's channel and my YouTube channel, and just email me and just say LOA Books, Constance, in the subject line, and we'll get the link out to you so you can download all of these books to your phone or computer.
Wow. And so, Pete, what's your YouTube channel again?
Yeah, you just it's Visual Festation. So if you
Okay.
just Google Pete Adams or Visual Festation YouTube, you're gonna find it. It's pretty, you'll see me.
Right.
It'll be pretty easy.
And so mine is Constance Arnold. I mean, who does that? Who gives away 27 free ebooks? Come on,
Only,
people.
oh yeah, right. I think only cool people like Constance Arnold, and you guys are blessed for listening to this show because if you had to buy these things off of Amazon, it'd be like $500 or more. So
Right.
it's a heck of a gift.
And it's called The Power of Giving. And let me just say this. I maybe I'm kind of serious, Pete, because of what I just went through, but giving is powerful. And one of the quickest ways to get what you want is to give to somebody else. Not that you're giving to get something, but I'm just saying it's a universal law. And so that's why we're doing this. So tell your friends about it. But we can see who has subscribed. And so when you finish subscribing, you're going to send Pete an email at visualfestation@gmail.com.
Perfect,
Okay.
perfect, Constance.
All right. So here we go. We're talking about 10 books that you can begin to read that will begin to bring success, abundance, and wealth in your life. Okay, Pete, let's roll. What we're going to start with first.
Okay, great. Well, there's countless wonderful works out there, but we kind of picked basically picked 10 that we thought
Mm-hmm.
were really powerful. And what's really pretty cool about a lot of these books is they've all been around for around 100 years or so.
Yeah.
So it's not for the most part it's nothing new, and that's the whole thing about the laws of the universe. They've all been here since the beginning of time. Nothing changes. The way it works is the same today as it was 100 years ago. So,
Mm-hmm.
we'll get started. The first book that I want to talk about, Constance, is it's called The Magic of Believing by Claude Bristol, and it was written in 1932, back in the Depression.
Mm.
And what was really cool about this book for me was this is the very first book that I read that was, like Law of Attraction. For the most part, honestly, Constance, I didn't know about. I wasn't calling it the Law of Attraction until about 2005 or six, something like that. So back in the beginning, this book, I read this one when I was at I was in the dumps. It was right before, things started changing my life, and I was just totally frustrated. And this book basically it talked about the power of believing, and believing, basically in your ability to work with God. So it's just like, it gave countless examples of people who, had prayed and manifested. And the coolest thing I liked about this book was it gave me hope. And,
Mm.
that was the first book I read. And I'm like, you know what? This, my life can change. And it was awesome because it was like the right time. It was just what I needed to hear when I read that book. So if any of you guys have big challenges or you need something big, a big change in your life, this is a great book to get started with.
Well, what I like about the book also was, which most all of the books talk about, the power of your thoughts and how to begin to project your thoughts and your mental pictures only on what you desire. And that's just like a common thread in all of the books that we're going to be sharing about, Pete. And how, like Pete said, God, these are universal fixed laws that God put in place, at the foundation of the world. And so all you have to do is read these books, tap into it, get a revelation of it, and begin to see your life change.
Exactly. It was like you said earlier too, Constance, before we got on the call. Guys, it's not just about reading these books. It's about taking action and changing your life. Because, I've met people before that, they've read all the self-help stuff that's out there and they just read books and their life
Hmm.
doesn't change. So, don't be don't be just a reader. Be somebody who takes action, and you will get results. You can't help but get results because it's a law of the universe.
Well, and usually when I read a book, Pete, I read it and then I go back and reread it and take notes and like, okay, this is one area that I need to change. Ooh, I need to read this a little bit carefully. And I'm like old school. Sometimes I still like to have my book in my hand. I got Kindle. I have all that because I want to highlight it in red, yellow, green and then go back and ask the Spirit to really help me in this area. So, really, it's more than just reading, it's getting a revelation of everlasting truth.
Oh, that's perfect, Constance. I know just what you're describing because it's almost like an aha moment. It's
Yeah,
sometimes you'll just see this one sentence and it's just like, wow, now I get it.
yeah. hmm So, what's the next book we're going to share?
Okay, Constance, this is one of my favorite books. You're probably going to hear me say that 100 times. I
I know.
apologize up front because this book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was that was the very next book I read. After I read The Magic of Believing. In fact, because I actually took these two books out at the exact same time from the library, and it was just by chance that I read The Magic of Believing first. So then I read through this book, and if you guys haven't read The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy, well, you better you better buckle your seatbelt
hmm
because it was just like example after example of how do you focus your thought to manifest. And there were extraordinary examples in his book about different people using these principles, which again are laws of the universe, and getting tangible results. I mean, I read this thing, and honestly, Constance, something changed in me. I don't know really how to explain it, but it was just like I read these two books, and when I got done with The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, I'm just like, if they can do it, I can do it, and I did it. So that's when all the stuff that came about later, when I wrote about in visual festation about things that I manifested, it was just like I was just like another example in Dr. Joseph Murphy's book. This book is phenomenal. I honestly, Constance, I don't know how many times I've read some of these things, but it's almost sometimes most of these books I've had on audio tape or actually CDs I used to listen to in my car when I sold real estate.
hmm
So I mean, it's like I'm getting to the point. Like with some of the stuff I listened to so much, I was actually I knew what the next sentence in the book was going to be. That's how well I knew it. And I'm serious about that.
Yeah, I know. I love it that he really breaks down what's the conscious mind and what's the subconscious. He really breaks it down so all of you guys, once you'll get that one of those free ebooks from us once you subscribe. But he breaks down that like the subconscious mind is like the dark room in which it begins to develop whatever you habitually think and feel because we know that the subconscious mind responds to habit and habitual thinking. And so he talks a lot so that you understand you may consciously say, I want wealth and abundance, but your subconscious is the one that's doing the work. And he really breaks it down so that you learn how to change your subconscious, how to impact it habitually by what you feel, say, and think, and then tattooing those images on it. I love it.
Oh yeah, a phenomenal book. And like you said, Cons, about the subconscious mind versus the conscious mind. And one of the great techniques he talked about is, right before you go to sleep is like, working on what you desire and
Mm,
putting yourself. So while you're sleeping, your subconscious is out there creating for you, which is awesome.
yeah. And so we're sharing these 10 books, and we know even the Bible says, don't just be a hearer of the word, be a doer. And I don't know what the stats are, Pete, but I think most people just hardly read anymore. And you can read and or listen because scientists are saying it's still the same. But if you want change, your whole life needs to be immersed in wealth, abundance, success, what you desire. People were asking me, well, how do you feel? And I said, well, I feel sad about my brother, but because I have immersed my life in what I do every week, you know what I'm saying, Pete? And with my relationship with God, there wasn't a lot of room for sadness, if you get me.
Oh, Constance, I totally understand what you're saying because it's like every now and then it's like I'll hit a speed bump, but what's so good about it is where I do this every single day. I have gratitude every single day. I do my hour of power every single day, and like you said, there's not much room there for anything
Yeah.
negative to come in. It's almost like a force field of positivity where it's just like even suffering going through the loss the transition of your brother is a really tough time, but it gets over short quickly because you are so positive. So and like Constance said, guys, this isn't something you just kind of read about. This is something you totally immerse yourself in, just like Constance said, and it's just like this becomes how you live your life.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle.
Perfect.
It's who you are.
Exactly. It's not. Yeah, exactly. It's who you are, Constance. That's perfect. It's who you are, not some of the time, all of the time.
Yeah, so true. Okay, Pete, who we gonna talk about next?
Ooh, this is an amazing book. It's called "As a Man Thinketh" by
Woo.
James Allen. Yeah, this one's unbelievable. Like again, these are all world class books, and this book was written in 1902,
Wow.
and the book is like really short. And it's all about controlling your thoughts. And he's the first guy I heard say thoughts are things,
Hmm.
and they have energy and they have power, and your thoughts create your reality. And whether it's health or wealth or all of these things, if you have all these blessings in your life, it's because you're thinking good thoughts. And if right now, if you're not having abundance, you have an illness or whatever, it's because your thoughts are messed up. So it's a warning sign to basically get back on the right path. But the one thing about this book is it's tiny, but it's like it has the wisdom. It could be like another 1,000 pages longer. That's how darn good I like this book. And again, it's a masterpiece. What are your thoughts on it, Constance?
When I've heard, the Bible says, as a man or woman thinketh, so is he or she. So once again, thoughts are energy. We vibrate them out into the universe. And James Allen just talks about that your actions are really outgrowths of what you thought, what you're constantly thinking. And he felt like that your thoughts are so powerful that it can change your circumstances. And we already know in quantum physics that your thoughts can impact and change matter. And so he believed that thoughts can keep you young, thoughts can keep you healthy, and that you have to learn how to become the master of your own mind. And that's why, once again, I use me. I just chose not to let my mind roam all around. I chose to think about how great my brother was, all the wonderful stuff he did, and all of that. And so, once again, it shows us, Pete, how God has given us this wonderful power to choose what we think, because really your thoughts become things over time and they materialize in your life.
Exactly, Constant. And just so everyone knows, it's it takes time because if you've been thinking negative thoughts for the last 30 years,
Hmm.
well, in 10 minutes it's not probably gonna change that quickly, but it doesn't take another 30 years to cancel out the 30 years you've been thinking negatively. You start thinking the right way today, tomorrow, and the next day after that is just going to get better for you.
And that's why I think it's so great. Sometimes during my hour of power, I'll just choose to think certain things. I'll choose to think about something. I remember one time I just made a decision. I'm gonna think about pink diamonds. I don't know why I did that. I just did. Just making my mind conform to what I wanted to think like. And so the more you read these books, the more you immerse and you saturate yourself in these books. Just imagine we're giving you 27 ebooks. What would your life look like at the end of the year if you immersed and just became one with the principles in this book? It would be phenomenal.
Exactly, Constance. And one of the things that has been so great because we've been friends for a number of years
Hmm.
is to see people who have listened to your show, and then they're interested in learning more,
Hmm.
and they keep listening to the show. They take the actions that we're talking about, and in a year or less, their life is completely changed. If you want proof of this, guys, hop onto my YouTube channel and all the success secrets or success stories that are being shared by the listeners and people who read my book actually all came from Constance Arnold's show. So it's just like they did it, you can do it too. And a year is like nothing. So if you
Right.
want the life of your dreams, well, you need to start. You need to start today. And and with this gift of the 27 law of attraction classics, you don't need anything else except taking the time and controlling your thoughts and having gratitude, and
Yeah.
you'll be the next. I look forward to having you send me a tape off your iPhone or short video telling us about how great life is. So it's so doable. I hope you guys will take the action.
Yeah. What's our next book we're going to talk about, Pete?
Okay, well this is kind of wild, Constance. We're going to talk about the science of getting rich by Wallace
Mm.
Wattles, and one of the big things about this book, it was funny, was that, well, it's not really funny, but actually, this is the book that inspired Rhonda Byrne, who created the movie The Secret, that many
Mm.
of the listeners have seen, and which is a phenomenal law of attraction overview. I think it's almost like reading 50 books. She jammed so much good information into that movie, and she was inspired by the science of getting rich. So it's obviously it made an impression on Rhonda. One of the things I really like about this book is it's really about taking your mind. It's about getting rich. Don't get me wrong, but it's really about achieving what you desire. And one of the big things Wallace talked about was is the power of focus. So it's
Hmm.
almost like whatever you desire. It's like his technique was you think about that all the time. It's like success is it's almost like jihad. It's like no matter what, all I'm going to do is I'm going to think about what I desire, and I'm going to see it in my mind's eye as being achieved. And in short, it absolutely all works. And I think one of the funniest things for me was back in he wrote this thing in 1910, and
Wow.
what he said was in the book is like, don't read the newspaper. So back then, that was
Hmm.
like the only thing of news, and he just said all it's going to do is distract you. There's no good news in it whatsoever. He goes, it's not news, it's just bad stuff. And he goes, you don't need to waste your time reading it. So think about what Wallace is saying, and look at today. It's just like you could spend 8 hours a day watching bad news on television and think it's normal. Well, it's not doing anything to help you achieve success. It's just gluing you to the tube. So like, stay tuned. Then some more commercials, and we're back with some more bad news. I mean, it's like it was the same way. Shoot, 100 years ago. Unfortunately, they just had one media outlet. So try to stay focused and try to tune out the bad news.
Well, I like it that he says that getting rich is an exact science and it's mathematical. and that it's like math and like the laws of addition and subtraction. And so these are all once again fixed laws, and he says that anybody can be rich. And he talked again about really directing your thoughts and how your thoughts really trigger the process of creation, because when you send the thought out, vibrate it out, it really creates an impression on your subconscious. And he said that all human beings are like thinking centers, and that we can choose to think a certain way. You can choose to think, I will receive downloads or ideas where I can serve others and become rich. And then he also talked a lot about faith and gratitude, where I know we don't have time to go in there, but that was just a common thread in all of the books about, it is a science, and that really how you have faith and gratitude and really just have a clear, consistent mind of what you want, and the more you stick with that, it'll happen for you.
Oh, that was an excellent job describing that, Constance. And it's true. It's the science. It is a science, and it's just like with scientific certainty. That was his whole preface. It was just like, if you do what I'm telling you in this book, you will get rich. Period.
Wow.
And that's just it's perfect because it having success in Waddle's mind, it was a process, and it's like a recipe to make a cake or something like that, where it's just like you follow these steps, like adding the ingredients and following the directions in the recipe, you're going to have a wonderful tasting cake. And it's not chance. It's science, and it's working with the laws of the universe.
Right. And I'm going to say it again. These are fixed laws. If you live in India, if you live in Africa, I think of our friend David Gakandi, and I re-aired him last week on my show, Happy Pocket Full of Money. He lives in Kenya, which he said is some people would consider not such a wealthy country, but he fixed his mind. And really, God puts everybody on a level playing skill and playing ground. And I'm not saying that some of you don't have, difficult circumstances, situation. I'm not saying that, but nobody can take away your mind and your thinking.
Oh, that's David's such a wonderful example, Constance. For the guys who don't know David or you haven't listened to that show, Dave wrote an amazing book called A Happy Pocket Full of Money. It didn't
Hmm.
make our top 10 list. Sorry, David, but I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will in time.
Yeah.
But the whole thing David proved was, location doesn't determine where you're going to be.
Hmm.
David, he was born in Kenya. He went to college in Florida and here in the United States, and I believe now he's living in Australia.
I think
And
so.
yeah, and it's just like he started off with, like challenges. Absolutely, it's like Kenya's not the most wealthy country, and that didn't stop David from creating his reality. And we also have one of our listeners. I'm hoping to get a testimonial video from our friend Gracie, who's in South Africa, and
Hmm.
this lady is a manifesting machine. It's like she might be starting off in Africa, but where she's going to go, well, it's she's on the success train. So
Yeah.
keep doing the great work, Gracie, and because
Yeah.
you're an excellent example for everyone.
Okay, what's our next book?
Oh, this is a big one, Constance. This is the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and just so you guys know this, Constance and I both read this book every single day. So if you want proof, the proof that it works, well, I wouldn't be reading this thing if it wasn't awesome, and neither would Constance. This book actually was it's so good. It was actually the beginning of the New Thought movement, and it actually became the book that basically was the foundation for the Church of Religious Science. which is now called the Centers for Spiritual Living. And it's not to be confused with Christian Science. That's a different religion.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like a new thought thing, and it's almost like their Bible. But
Yeah.
what is so cool about this book is it really explains to everyone, and who reads the book, basically it's like we're all one. It's unity. Every one of us is connected to each other, and everything happens in our experience happens through the thoughts we think, the beliefs we hold, and going the other way, or the fears we have, because it's like essentially Ernest Holmes really laid out that. I know this consciousness is a little hard to comprehend for some people, Jim, but just imagine that everything is happening inside one giant mind, and we're a piece of that mind. And we have the ability to control our health, our success, anything in our experience through controlling our thoughts. And he really just broke it down big time.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the book right now. It looks like they call it the Bible. It's 700 pages, the original Science of Mind, and I have never finished reading. He has charts on how to manifest. He breaks down thought. I mean, it is so detailed. And I love it because he talks about the law of the mind and how to do a spiritual mind treatment. If like you have something going on, he just says that you should just sit in one place and treat your mind. And how do you do that? For example, we just use money. You treat your mind by thinking and saying and seeing there is only abundance. I'm one with all of there is. And so you treat yourself. And he talks a lot about that. He talks about, having a mental equivalent. That means that whatever you can see, embrace, and embody, you can have it. And so it's so deep and it's so much to read. If you read through this book, your life would be totally changed. I have never read through the whole book, Pete.
Oh no, I haven't either, Constance. With the and for the listeners who haven't seen this book, in the in the beginning of the original book, there's a section called the 365 Days of the Science of Mind, and there's also
Mm-hmm.
another book with a similar title. And what it gives you is a small reading assignment for every single day of the year,
Mm-hmm.
and it's awesome because it brings you through the book over a year's time, and you're still not reading the whole book. You're just jumping here and there. But where you're at in those different sections, you can really dial into wherever you need help working with spirit to achieve whatever you desire. And Constance, I love the self-help affirmations in
Oh
the
yeah.
back. Wow, I read, just so you guys know, there's a handful of those things I read every single day, and they fire me up. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, it's like I'm here working with spirit. Thank you, and I'm telling you, my life it's just miraculous. So it's if you want to achieve anything, have gratitude. You stay focused. Read this book every single day, and your life will become magical. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just how it is. It's just phenomenal.
Woohoo! I'm getting excited. I'm already excited. Okay, Pete, what's our next book?
Okay, this is a book that I just read recently. Well, within the last 2 years, I had never heard of this one, and I don't know how I missed it. But actually, you know what, Constance? The book is called "The Game of Life and How to Play It" by Florence Scovel Shinn, and that was written in 1925.
Oh,
And
Florence is my girl. I don't know how
oh
you
yeah,
missed that, Pete.
well, you know what, Constance? Actually, this is what happened for me. I was listening to your show. Your first show with Justin Perry, I think it was about 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys brought up this book, and I'm like, how did I miss that book? So that's what prompted me to buy it. So I thank you because this book is awesome. And one of the things I love about it is like this thing was written back in 1925 by a woman. And at that time, in the space of new thought and everything it was all a guy's game. And
Mm-hmm.
this lady crushed it. You know, she was just like she was way ahead of her time, and for any women out there, it's just like if you get a little tired of everything being in a man's voice, like a lot of these older books are, this thing
Mm-hmm.
is just refreshing, and it's basically, you know, you this she's telling you how to play the game. You play the game with your mind. You know, that's how you either win the game of life or you lose it, and it's all your thoughts and your beliefs. So, change your thoughts, change your beliefs, change your life. I mean, we say this every week, but she did a great job on this one, and I know that's your girl, Constance.
This
So
is
I'll
my
let you take
girl.
over on
This
this
is
one.
my girl, Florence Scover Shin. She was a bad girl. I loved it because she merged universal principles with scripture. And she's written other things, writings for women, but she talks about the law of expectancy and the power of your words. She has something about your words are your one, and that by your words you are justified. I remember one story that she had in one of her books was this lady back in the 1900s who was trying to she was believing for some china, a new set of china, and so the lady, somebody gave her some old cracked plates, Pete, and she said, "This isn't what I believe for." And Florence Scovel said, "Put the law of expectancy out and keep it there and watch your words. Be grateful for this crack uh, plate because your china is on its way with your words." And so she merged really artfully, and like Pete said, for her time, her books are just so powerful. I refer probably my clients to read this book more than anything else. So she was very big on affirmation. Let me read you a couple of affirmations. I say her affirmations all the time. And she says, "All that is mine by divine right is now released and reaches me in great avalanches of abundance under grace in miraculous ways." I love that she always says that, because what it shows is you don't have to be perfect for God to bless you, because it said it comes to you under grace in miraculous ways. And then another one that I love, she says, "Unexpected doors fly open, unexpected channels are free, and endless avalanches of abundance are poured out upon me under grace in perfect ways." And that's why, Pete, I said she was a bad girl.
Oh, yeah, Constance, it's funny because when you give me the example of the lady with the china, all of a sudden I remember the story, and I'm like, yeah, it's like
Mm-hmm.
avalanches of abundance. That is beautiful, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like I think I'm going to write those down and add them to my list of affirmations
Yeah.
because they are that powerful.
Well, good. What's her next book, Pete?
Well, Constance, I told you the other day, this one's all yours, and that it's because I apologize for everyone on the show that is I am totally into God, but I am not a scholar as far as the Bible goes. But my number seven is the New Testament, and I know you're an expert on this, Constance, so have at it.
Okay, here we go. The bottom line, this, everybody, every book that we're going to be giving to you free, all of them have scripture in it. All of them refer to the Bible, etc. So this is what I hear people say, "Oh, the Bible is so hard to read." Oh, I tell you what, it's just so hard. And guess what? This is what I tell people. Begin with the New Testament. Matthew, with the first five chapters of the New Testament, and I would suggest either the Amplified or the Living Bible. And so you are reading the miracles of what Jesus did. So when you read that, see that, they call it the five gospels. When you read that, see that, it begins to bring faith to you. You understand it. You get a clear picture of it. There are a lot of parables, etc. So start there and begin reading that. And I'm going to say quite honestly with you, The Bible says that the word of God is alive. I said that it's vibrational. And whenever I read the Bible, I get something different. I can't explain that. And so I'm going to strongly encourage you. They got so many different versions out, but I'm just recommend the Living Bible and the Amplified and just read a chapter a day. It's so exciting. You know, you read about the miracles and how people were healed, and then that brings faith to you. So that's what I'm going to say, Pete.
Wow, that's awesome, Constance. And that's the thing too. It's just the Jesus was so awesome at manifesting. It's because he had belief that was just insanely powerful. And if you can get your belief system, up on the level of, vibrating like Christ consciousness, then, your stuff will show up like in a flash. I'm still working on trying to get to that level, Constance. But,
Yeah.
it's like, it's a lifelong process,
Yeah,
though.
it is.
But,
And then
yeah,
quickly, then I'm going to say, then we're going to move on. Really, the Bible says faith come by hearing and hearing by the word of God. What does that mean? The more you read, the more faith comes to you. The more you read, the more faith comes to you. So give it a try with the five gospels. Okay, Pete, we
oh,
got like 10 minutes, so we're going to make it through these 10 books. What's the
yeah,
next book?
all right, we gotta pick up the pace.
Okay.
The next book is I'll say it as an American. The book is called I Ching Wisdom. It's called Guidance from the Book of Changes, and this book actually the real work is in Chinese is actually Yi Ya in Mandarin. That's how it's pronounced. But
Hmm.
anyways, this book has been around over 1,000 years,
Wow.
and it started out being passed down through the ages through stories. And every single one there's a small parable on each page, and then there's a description of what it means. And I read I read one page a day and meditate on it, and the
Hmm.
information is just amazing. And I know we're running out of time, but this is a real great example. The parable says every ending contains a new beginning. And the gentleman who wrote this, his name was Wu Wei. His comment was, even the longest journey only started by the first step. No matter how poor your circumstances are, no matter how poor your personal condition is, the path of the superior person, which only leads to supreme good fortune and great success, is always directly in front of you. You may take the first step upon it at any time and magically transform your circumstances. These benefits are available to everyone, withheld from no one. The path of the inferior person is also always directly in front of you, bringing its lessons of hardship, misery, and despair, but only so that you will ultimately come to know the truth. At each step of your way, you must always choose between these two paths. The ending of one path always means the beginning of the other. Choose well. Your future is entirely in your own hands. And what Wu Wei is talking about, he's talking about your thoughts. So
Hmm.
it's like you think thoughts of misery, then you're on the path of the inferior person, and your life is going to suck until you get off that path and start thinking the right way. So that book, it's like highly recommend it. And also, Constance, I don't think we mentioned this before, but we're going to have pictures of the covers of all the books on Constance's YouTube channel
Wow.
shortly after the show's released. So
Wow.
if you guys don't know what the books look like, just hop on Constance's channel, and there'll be an example there for you.
Wow. This is so good. What's our next book, Pete?
Okay, I know I'm like rushing to the finish line here. The next book I absolutely love is called The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard.
I got it
Another
in my hand.
awesome, yeah, that is another book that I recently became aware of probably about 3 years ago from a friend of mine named Wally over in Australia. He told me about it, and I'm like, whoa, I don't know how I missed this book. Because this thing, his power of Neville talks about the power of awareness, and it's really about how we use how your imagination can create your reality. It's super deep when you really read the words in the book, but it's just like he knows that if he uses the term imagination, and I use the term creative visualization. Really the same thing. Working with your imagination is essentially the powerhouse to creating your reality. And awesome book. it's all about working with spirit, and it's you have to have this book, and I'm really proud that it's in our 27 gift pack going out to you guys. So if you want to start off with this one, it's awesome.
It is good, and we're moving on. But he talks about the power of assumption, that you have to assume what you desire, your manifestation already being in your life. And so that means you must rearrange your thoughts, your pictures, and your future dream must be a noun fact for you. I mean, the man has all kind of books. It's powerful. You're going to be getting this in our gift to you. It's powerful, and we could talk about that book all day long.
Oh, absolutely. But I know we're running out of time,
Yeah, and
so I'll
what's our
go.
last book? We made
Okay.
it.
Yeah, we made it exactly. Well, hey, the last book on the list, and it's here for a reason. It's called "Creative Mind and Success" by Ernest Holmes. He wrote it in 1919.
Mm,
And Constance, if I had to just have one book, I would have this one.
mm.
I read it every single day. Robin does. My wife reads it every single day too. It basically took all these, took the science of mind, like Constance says, like 700 pages,
Hmm.
and it brought it down to like 90 pages that are so unbelievably good. It's insane. It's phenomenal. I mean, this book, if you became a student and only studied this one book and did what Ernest tells you to do, you're gonna have the life of your dreams. I mean, he is just he was a minister, so he's got a real good he really shares it with people who are more religious, and it's just beautiful. I mean, I love that book, Constance.
Well, he talks about the power that's on the inside of you. He talks about mind in action, how to send the word out, going out, universal laws, consciousness, all of the above, which we don't have time to go into. But what we share to you with you today is just the tip of the iceberg. Pete, what would happen in the lives of people if they would just begin reading and applying these principles?
Oh, Constance, well, all I can say is there would be a lot more happy people
Yeah.
on the planet because, like, every single one of these books we talked about on the show, it's like if you start, they pretty much all say the same thing, and all this, and they're all saying that it's up to you
Hmm.
and controlling your thoughts and having gratitude and believing it's possible that creates your reality. And it's like if you want change, and the biggest thing is, Constance and I can be on the show telling you all about these great things, but if you don't get up, take the action, read these books, work on them to change, work with them and work with spirit to change your life, it's not going to happen unless you do that. And so I wish you great success in your journey. I hope you guys will read all of these books, and some of them are going to really speak to you more than others,
Yeah.
and that's great. The ones that really speak to you, study them, and immerse yourself in, as Constance said, and your life is going to get great.
Yeah.
It has to happen because it's a law. It's not like it might happen or I wish it would happen. No, it will happen.
So
And that's
true.
that's the
Pete, thank
secret.
you so much. So this is the deal, guys, ladies, gentlemen, sir. You're going to go to both of our YouTube channel. Mine is Constance Arnold, and Pete's is Peter Adams or Visualization. Is that right, Pete?
Yeah, either one. You just Google me. You'll pull me up. No
Okay.
problem.
You're going to hit subscribe, and then you're going to subscribe. We will see who has actually subscribed, and then you're going to send an email to Pete, which is, what's your email, Pete?
Yeah, it's visualfestation@gmail.com. And just put it in the subject line, LOA Books Constance. And just, tell me what your subscriber info is. we'll verify it, and as soon as it's verified, which will take like 1 second, we'll send you a link that has all of these books that you can download
Well,
for free.
27, is it 26 or 27?
It's 20. It's 27.
27 free ebooks. Who does that? So I want you to tell five of your friends who've been kind of getting on your nerves with about complaining and what's not happening and how bad this is. Tell your family members, tell your brother, your sister, anybody who is really serious about change. And I guarantee you, if you read these books, meditate on them, let them become truth to you, act on them every day, you'll create a miraculous life. I'm so excited, Pete.
Well, that was good. The show just flew by, Constance, and almost all of these books that we discussed today were they're included in the free package that we given to you guys. So
Right.
it's like so if one of these things sounded pretty interesting, well, like we said, sign up and we'll get it to you as soon as possible, and you can start working on manifesting everything you desire.
Pete, I thank God for you and Robert being in my life. Y'all are a gift to me, and I'm just so grateful to you.
Well, thank you so much, Constance. It's a two-way street, and we're blessed to have you in our life as well.
The only thing I'm not going to do is come out there and ski with you guys. I love you, but I'm not getting on skis right now. That
Well,
might
that's
be that.
cool. Well, hey, just so you know, Constance, the other day it was 2 degrees out, and the wind was blowing about 40 miles an hour, and I was questioning my sanity for skiing when it was like 30 below zero with the wind chill. So, it was probably a good day to play golf in Atlanta.
So you guys can just send me the picture. So everybody, we're excited about this show today. And as I say every week, you may not know it or feel it, but the love of God is surrounding you. You know, the whole universe is conspiring to get your highest good to you. I want you to say out loud that something good is going to happen to you and through you this week.